right. Should be up and running here on both platforms. We got about 30 seconds until the close. All right, I just got the green light, so we should be live. Should be good to go here. We'll be going over the market and today's plays. So let's go ahead and get started. Good afternoon. This is Ifan from the Strategic Day Trader, and this is your market wrap for November 4th, 2021. Q's up 1.26, SPY up 0.45, IWM flat on the day basically, and there's the closing bell. Okay, so it was a lot more bullish yesterday, a little bit more strength in the Qs and SPY today, but all three have been bullish. Now, coming into today, I thought that if we gap up, we'll pull back in, and then, maybe it'll be a slight pullback because we're extended. And we did the exact opposite. We gapped up, and then we just took off right from the open. So I really thought we were going to come in initially, not that we were bearish, but just maybe a slight pullback to start. Market really bullish, no pullback needed. Okay. So yeah, just took off. Now we still are extended. So, going into tomorrow, it kind of the same thing. If we gap up again, I wouldn't expect us to just take off. But if we do, we are potentially going to be running into a climactic top. Okay. Now, we really haven't had one probably since the late aughts, basically into the financial crisis. But the best example is the dot-com bubble. But all throughout the past few years, there've been a lot of talk of QE creating bubble or any of these things, and we've just never really gotten an acceleration and a climactic top. Okay, last year's kind of drop wasn't really what we expected, as far as, so it just wasn't a climactic top. It was a way of putting in a top. Okay, we did come in hard. Okay, but it wasn't from a climactic top. And climactic tops are not the only way that we can top out, but it is setting up with this extension, with the daily picking up steam, something that we're on the lookout for. Okay, we don't have the climactic move yet. Okay, the acceleration into the top. An extreme example would be like this BGI, where they get this unsustainable move, they accelerate up towards the top. I don't think even if we do put in a climactic top, Qs and SPY will necessarily drop like this. But this is the idea. You may also have heard of kind of the tulip move, the tulip bubble pattern. It's the same thing. It's basically, it accelerates at an unsustainable rate and then tops out hard. Okay, so we're not there yet on the Qs, but it's something to look out for. Okay, because I thought today's move very, very bullish and kind of surprising how bullish. Now, if we accelerate more, if we start to really kick up, then yeah, that's what we'll be watching for. Okay, too early for now. So really same bias going into tomorrow. We're extended, but we're bullish. Okay, and that goes for SPY as well. All right, let's get into today's plays. Nonstop plays from open to close. There's just a lot. I don't remember a day where I've missed so many plays or passed on so many plays that worked just amazingly. There's always going to be plays that I pass on that work great, but today was kind of overwhelming the extent of that, and that's tough. It's tough not to stay focused when you feel like that's happening over and over again. But that's kind of how today was, and some stuff, just wasn't quite perfect, wasn't quite good enough to play, but just off it went. Here was the SSYS. That's a 1 minute pullback right there. Reason I was watching this at the open because it was a very good gap. Okay. Here's a little bit of a base that it's clearing. Look at all this void over to the left here, right? Look at this big, nice weekly pattern that it's carved out here. Kind of a weekly double bottom there. So expected from the larger time frames this was going to get going. So had a pretty big move there at the open. This one did also have 20-cent spread. So, this one I didn't really feel that bad about, but it's like when you see play after play, and then of course the plays that I was getting in weren't necessarily going to this extent. It was kind of felt just, an unusual day, even for, I think, experienced traders, right? Um, so, uh, so yeah, the SSYS was really nice. I did play this MGNI, was in this pretty much all day. Didn't really make too much on it. Here was a sell setup. Here's the gap. Here's why I liked it. Really nice gap here. Breaking down underneath that daily base, weekly, rolling over. Okay, so that was a nice setup. Just couldn't quite get going. Took forever. Now I did a good job of living through all of this sloppiness, but that was, part of it. I'm watching the SSYS go crazy, even though I saw the entry, identified the entry, decided to pass. It's like, why is the MGNI not moving? It made a little bit, ended up staying pretty weak, but just couldn't really get going there on the MGNI. NRG, I was really sloppy to start off the day here. You can see a lot of sloppiness. And then had a nice base right here, but then still had the low of the day kind of in the way. It's going to be triggering into that base. So I thought, okay, if we, either bounce off of it first and then give an entry or something, that would be fine. But you can see once it broke, kind of just took off, and then it gave like a little sell setup in here. Yeah, right in here. I think that was fine. A little bit of a base. 15-minute does a sell setup. So that was okay. We were in this RMNI pretty much all day as well. I thought I definitely had high expectations for this as well. Big gap down. I mean, look at that. All those people up there trapped, coming from all-time highs on the RMNI, and then gapping down, leaving all those people trapped. I thought, this was going to be a big one. And it did work. Still nice. But I added to it at the end of the day as well, and it didn't go anywhere. So that was kind of surprising. I think the thing about today is that not a lot of things failed. It was just some things were home runs and some things were just kind of nice. That was my experience, and I thought that today was just odd in that regard. In most days you're gonna have some things work, some things don't work. You guys know if you watch these videos daily, I go over plays that I took that didn't work. I don't even have any plays that I considered that didn't work. So that today was just unusual. I don't think it's going to be the same case tomorrow. I think it was just kind of a unique situation. I think today was probably the most things on the earnings list, and we're going to probably taper off on the earnings list for the next few weeks. Hopefully not fall off a cliff and have it get really boring, but I think, today was probably the peak of earnings season, okay? QRTEA, nice base breakdown here. I thought it was just a little bit too much on the sloppy side. Didn't think it was all that clean. Didn't think the bars were all that tight, but again, really nice gap. And so there were just so many really good gaps today. And that comes too when there's so many things to look at and so many opportunities, and you're still trying to take them all. It's a little bit overwhelming. So a lot of stuff today. We played this VMEO here into the afternoon. So this was nice. This is that 15-minute base breakdown here. Got basically right to 2 hours. We were right to our target, so that was good. And we basically took it, and then right before it even created this big topping tail, so that was nice. We didn't have to deal with any of that mess, so we basically took the whole thing down here. So that was a good follow through here. This setup I really, really like. We had an identical play on the CDNA last week on Friday to finish out the week here. See that? Base like that, and then break down. Very nice gap on the CDNA, right? Sets up this base on the daily and then gaps underneath it. That's why I had high expectations for the MGNI. And I mean, look at that. Based even longer and then gapping underneath it. And now when you look at the CDNA and the MGNI, it's like, what's wrong with you, MGNI? Right? So, but the VMEO, good gap as well. Good gap. This had got spun off, and so now as far as, this has, at least since it got spun off, is at all-time lows now. So that's part of the reason why I liked it. I knew we definitely had room to fall. Don't know exactly how far, but 2 Rs ended up being the answer, and that's what kind of what we're expecting, so that works. All right. So a lot of stuff. And they think tomorrow will be a little bit more manageable and will be, that way probably for the next couple weeks. But, hopefully you're doing well because, like I mentioned a couple days ago, there's like no time to think. It's, you either know what you're looking for and you know how to execute, or you're gonna miss out, right? And it's gonna be you're just gonna have to kind of wait and see, and when things slow down again, maybe kind of reestablish. But right now, it's kind of just go go go. All right. So anyway, hope you did well today. We'll be back at it tomorrow, and I will talk to you then. Have a good evening.